This playlist is to help you plan as you go for the unit about operations with rational numbers. I'm chunking this down into sections so that we can just stick with one section at a time and it won't become overwhelming. The first thing we would ask students to do is to start in their digital notebook. If you have this digital interactive notebook or something like it, then you might need to skip this part and make this your own. But I'm going to show you the digital interactive notebook I will be using, and it looks like this. Students have the ability to choose the front cover of their notebook, and this video is to help them choose that. There are two ways to choose this. The first way is to go up here to the top left and use the drop-down arrow, and you can see all of the different options that students have. If I scroll down, I think there's a total of 15. And all they have to do is just click the one they want, and it pops right up. There is a little odd box that shows click to add subtitle. Just click it and delete it for whatever reason that's showing up. The other way the students can do it is go up to layout, and when they click the drop down arrow again, you see all the different options for their notebooks. Once they've chosen the one that they want, they should click in the subtitle box and type in their name. Then they should go back over to the left and delete whichever covers they don't want anymore. This notebook, if I put it into presentation mode, would show me all of the different parts of this unit that we're going to accomplish. First, we're going to talk about signed numbers and what they mean. Some of this should be review from last year, but since last year was a little bit crazy, we're going to assume that they don't know much about it or that they don't remember. So this first page will be done before any instruction is given, just to see what they know. Then, if you can go back and forth with me on this playlist, the second thing they're going to do after they finish this first remote activity or in-class group activity as a formative assessment, the next thing they're going to do is watch Math Antics. Math Antics is a very short video that talks about the purpose of integers and how to compare integers. I've Edpuzzled it, which means if you're not familiar with Edpuzzle, I added some questions for students to really focus on what we want them to learn from this. This link should work for you, and you may use it with your students. Now I'm going to go back. After they've watched the video, the next thing they would probably do is start practicing comparing numbers. Each of these boxes, if you hover over it until the arrows pop up, you can just click and drag like that. Okay, and that's what the students are going to do in class or remotely. On the right-hand side of this page, we're going to fill in some of the words as we move left on the number line, and then they would talk about as they move right, then they would click and drag and bring these numbers. These are rational numbers. They have to order these from least to greatest. Okay, after they do that, and if I look back at the playlist, they are also going to do, there's another activity, and this was free on Teacher Pay Teacher, and it's a vocabulary activity. I think that it would work really well for students in groups to talk about what the words mean. Students always have a really hard time with withdraw or deposit and understanding if it's a negative or a positive. And as we move along, as we're trying to understand the purpose of integers, it's really important that they understand those vocabulary words. Okay, we're moving on. There's a Quizlet, and I've included the link. This is totally free. It's a great practice to remember the words and to understand what integers mean. And then the last thing of this first part of our module is a quick check. And I've included it here. It's free. There are just 3 or 4 questions. Those questions are to test to make sure that they're really understanding what they're doing. They should not move on. And by the way, everything here is at their own pace. They should not move on until they have stopped here and they have teacher feedback. Once they've mastered everything on that, they can move on to the next module, which I will upload next.